Right. Thanks, y'all, for joining the July key meeting. I'm Scott Williamson, the Chief Product Officer. We have a list of questions here we'll just dig right into. Brian Wise has the first couple. Brian, are you there yet?
Scott, thanks a lot. I'm here.
Cool.
I know there's been a lot of talk around tracking PQLs, product qualified leads. I've talked to Craig a little bit about it as well. I'm just curious what everyone thinks the first iteration looks like and what help you may need to achieve that.
I can take this one, Brian. So my team is working on implementing PQLs in the product. I linked to the Epic where we're tracking all of the related work. This milestone, we're planning on implementing the endpoints so that we can actually send the data directly to Marketo and Salesforce. Part of this work is going to be creating a new Postgres database to be able to track in the product essentially what PQL actions we're triggering and sending, so that over time, we can track those to actual dollars and sales accepted opportunities. So we know essentially the product influence dollars that we're driving from the product and which ones are driving the most value for the business and potentially which ones are underperforming over time. So we're starting the initial work this milestone. My goal is in Q3 to have an OKR assigned to myself to generate the first PQLs and sending them to the sales team that we can track the dollars associated with them. So the biggest ask I'm going to have is from the data team once we have this Postgres database created to ensure that it is in Sisense and we're able to join it with everything that we need to understand the impact of PQLs.
Excellent. I would also just like to make sure that on the data engineering side, to get a view of the pipeline itself and make sure that that looks clean as well. So feel free to involve them on the actual integration piece too. That would be great as we start to build out that data quality program. Great, Sam. Thanks a lot. Scott, I think you had another comment.
Yeah, still typing here. I'll finish it up. I talked to Craig about this yesterday. He mentioned that the first event that Sam's team will fire over to them in Marketo is trials associated with the company, which is a really great place to start. High quality lead. Those will be fed into the lead scoring mechanism within Marketo. It'll drive the score up, and those will be fed into the SDR team. So that's the general flow. And then as Sam and company generate additional PQLs, that system will get smarter. Eventually, we'll have machine learning underneath it to figure out what the very best lead combination sources are. And so thanks, Sam, for getting that going.
Yep.
All right, Brian had number 4.
Yeah, so I know we have an exciting release here coming up August 1st. I just wanted to provide Justin an opportunity just to provide a little color on V1, what's going well, and then also maybe some highlights on some priorities for the next release, V2. Go ahead, Justin.
Sure, yeah. So we launched cloud licensing to the field this week. So field enablement is underway. We kicked it off in the Worldwide Field Sales Call on Monday. I just got off an AMA with the APAC field team. So far feedback's been fantastic. We've had a lot of great questions. The enablement content seems to be going well, and folks on our GTM teams are completing the knowledge assessments and learning a lot, and no major flags there. So it's great to see early positive results. External communication goes out on July 20th. So that includes blog post, community forum post, and then emails going out to customers whose renewal is coming up around the effective date. And then the effective date, as you mentioned, Brian, is August 1st. So any other highlights there you think I should call out, or any other questions you have?
No, I think it's been a really good program. It's been a long journey, and it's just good to see the entire team working together between enterprise apps, fulfillment, sales ops, legal. I mean, it just goes on and on. So it's been a great program.
Agreed. Yeah, totally. It's definitely coming together. Yeah, and then you asked V2 priorities. So I listed a few in the agenda. These are what's surfacing as the top priority coming out of our launch on August 1st. And I don't have concrete dates here. We're looking at Q3, Q4 timeline, but we'll narrow in on that over the next couple of weeks. But they're listed in priority order. So we need to support customers who require purchase orders. Right now, we don't have that process detailed out of how a customer needs a purchase order. We send that and goes back and forth until we process the reconciliations and auto renewals. So that'll be a follow. All channel and let's say most channel and PubSec customers require purchase orders. And so we'll need that in place. And then last, and we talked about this a couple months back, but right now we're issuing both a cloud license activation code and a license file to activate cloud licensing or for all new orders and renewals starting after August 1st. We need to shift to strict, which means we'll only deliver cloud license activation codes for any transaction after launch. And we don't have a committed date on that yet, but that's an iteration we'll need to take too.
I'll just add real quick on the strict orders on the Zora side. We've successfully upgraded our CPQ environment that is going to unlock Zora orders that will help us get to ramps and multi-year deals with some operational efficiency. So that's going to happen. Preparation in V2 and then with a expected go live for the field in November. And really it's more change management than anything else. So I'm excited about that.
Awesome. Thanks, Justin, for your leadership on that. Super exciting to see it coming together. Sid has number 5.
Yeah, there was a note that because we create an onboarding experience, everyone is using Plan. Are we? Is there? Are we going to kind of fix that so that people don't automatically use Plan?
So I can take that. So there's a recent field added to our project level data to indicate projects created through this default Learn GitLab user onboarding project. So from a data perspective, we're currently exploring how we can integrate this project level data to our stage adoption and engagement data, which tends to be more user and namespace focused.
Yeah, when you say integrate, you mean exclude?
That's correct. And at least allow for the opportunity within our dashboards to filter, to allow for looks with and without.
Yeah, or just exclude them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they never influence anything. Like I can't see a use case where you want to look at engagement data. Well, okay, maybe. Cool. Thanks for that. Stages per organization seems flat. What's the best way to increase this? Mike?
Yeah, so I can describe what we're thinking about in growth here. So one way we think we can boost SPO is by driving SAST, since it gets you into both CI and secure at once. And so we have a couple of experiments that we're going to explore there. One that's introducing an empty state for the secure widget that's on MRs. Right now, if you don't have SAST enabled, you don't even know it unless you go looking for it. So this would highlight that and allow you to get into enabling it. And then we also think there's an opportunity to allow users to enable this when they're creating the project, because we could just create that YAML file for them with the entries that we need for SAST right away. So they don't have to go looking for it and go jumping through hoops. And since it's one of those features that's available in free and core, we don't need to worry about upsetting users that don't have access to it. So there's a couple ways there. And then longer term, we also want to explore creating a new dashboard experience. So when users log in right now, that view is kind of either your projects or your to-dos. You can pick existing views. We think there's an opportunity there to use that real estate to highlight like which stages you're using and which ones you aren't, and provide entry points to those additional stages. So there's a few things we're thinking about in growth.
Yeah, and then from the ops
Thanks.
perspective, Sid, I agree that release is probably the most fruitful path to go down. We're proposing a Q3 OKR to do just that within the release and configure groups, actually. I think that there's some low-hanging fruit for awareness purposes, both in terms of showcasing templates that can direct users to creating deployment jobs, as well as just making sure they're aware of our release capabilities in product. So Mike, I will coordinate with you on making sure we work together on that OKR. And then I also wanted to point out that while I don't think it's as critical as release because it doesn't unlock other stages like release does, we are seeing strong adoption in package, and we'll be working on in-product awareness for our package capabilities.
Well, thanks, Kenny. And I think we should also take some inspiration from what Harness is doing in release. They seem to have traction. Maybe that's a good way to unify all the stuff we're doing.
Yeah, I think you had suggested the templates thing. I think we have some templates that we just don't showcase to users today and don't highlight to them. And now that we have this we have a drawer in the pipeline editor that will allow us to showcase to users who don't have a deployment job. Oh, here's some existing templates that you might use if you're deploying to XYZ pattern, which is kind of the easy setup thing you get when you do Harness. Harness asks you like, where are you deploying to? Here's the default template for doing that.
Yeah, so they have, I call that a wizard. What Harness is doing. Are we doing something like that or something different?
I guess something different in that when I use Harness, their like wizard is pretty restrictive, but then they also have a template library that you can go peruse and even supply to developers within your organization. We are definitely in progress of building the template library, and our pipeline editor allows us to showcase templates and even pre-fill the pipeline definition with specific content. So we have an opportunity to showcase, hey, there are some templates that we have. The wizard thing, I guess I'm a little bit skeptical that is more like the toy app that says, well, here's what you could do, but then obviously you need to break it apart to build what you actually want to do and deliver for and provide for developers. But yeah, definitely taking inspiration from showcasing the capabilities up front. That's my core thing, is I want to make sure no user thinks that they don't have the ability to perform deployments and get all the rich features that you get when you do deployments in your CI/YAML with GitLab.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense as a starting point. I wouldn't dismiss it as, I think the thing that I think is with toy is innovator's dilemma. Like everything looks like a toy initially, but I hear what you're saying. Like if that wizard is never going to be sufficient for a complex project, but I think what we're seeing in our adoption rate is that we could almost double adoption. Might be good to focus on getting people started, even if it's with something pretty trivial. That's already like, wait, then they're using it, and then we can do all the other stuff. We're very much focused at the end of like the YAML dependency stream and stuff like that. That's what we do really well. Let's focus on making sure we have a super simple start for people, and then we can always. We're kings of complexity. We're already nailing that use case.
Yeah, great point. And I think that those are useful. And for me, maybe this is worth a follow-up discussion. The toy thing is, what I worry about is that we don't frame it as, hey, this is the starting point that then we want you to decompose and iterate on. But I totally agree that we can do the job up front of saying, here is your starting point. Let's get you started on deployment.
If you want starting point in really bold letters at the top, then I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for that. Other questions? If not, thanks y'all for attending. We'll see you next month. Bye now.